What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Coach Steve Show podcast, where today we're going to be talking about the Illinois Fighting Illini traveling to play the Wisconsin Badgers. Homecoming for Coach Bielema. He was the head coach there for many, many years, led them to a couple Big Ten titles, won a lot of games. There are over 60 games that he won there. Gets a homecoming for him. So we're going to discuss Illinois going to Wisconsin and the keys for that game for Illinois to get the quote-unquote upset, even though Illinois is 3-1 and the Wisconsin Badgers are 2-2. We'll discuss that here on the Coach Steve Show podcast. Make sure you're hitting the like button and the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Follow it and rate it on Apple and iTunes. Follow me at Coach_Steve72 on Twitter and all that good stuff. To leave a comment section down below. Also, check out the Belly Up Media Network at bellyupsports.com. Check out all the podcasts, blogs, and everything there. There's something there for everybody, not just sports, but check out everything there at bellyupsports.com. So the Illinois Fighting Illini will travel to Wisconsin. Illinois is 3-1. Wisconsin Badgers, they are 2-2. Both of these teams are 0-1 in Big Ten play. Illinois losing to Indiana a couple weeks ago, which was a heartbreaking loss. Wisconsin played Ohio State last week and just got absolutely whipped. So Illinois will travel to play on Wisconsin. Illinois in recent years has struggled playing Wisconsin. They had that big upset a couple years ago, but it has been tough sledding for Illinois facing Wisconsin. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Coach Bielema heading back to Wisconsin. He had a good career there being the head coach at Wisconsin. He posted a 68-24 record at Wisconsin. He was the head coach there from 2006 to 2012 until he left. It was a bittersweet leave for him. Things just didn't go the way he wanted it to from top down, from administration, from reports, but you won't hear him complain about it. Leaving for Wisconsin, and now he is at Illinois. So the key matchups here. Illinois, they get about almost 209 yards, 210 yards on the ground per game. That is 25th in the subdivision bowl. Wisconsin allowed the fewest yards per carry in the nation last year in rush defense, but this year they are coming off a bad performance versus Ohio State, where they were able to they gave up two guys to Ohio State, Williams and Henderson. They rushed for over 100 yards. So the keys to this one is always going to come down to Chase Brown and that run game versus Wisconsin. But before we talk about the offensive side, let's get to the defensive side. Illinois' defense has been playing very well, and I'm telling you, since the Virginia game last year, they have been playing very well. So we're going to talk about Illinois' defense, and we're going to talk about this year so far through 4 games. The stats. Illinois, they score 28.3 points a game. They only give up 8 points a game. Illinois gets 454 yards per game, 245 through the air, 209 on the ground. They give up 234 yards. They give up 147 through the air and only 87 on the ground. Wisconsin scores 34 points a game, gives up 19 points a game. They get 433 yards per game. They give up 220. They get 221 through the air, 211 on the ground. They give up 319 yards per game, 197 through the air, 121 on the ground. So this is going to be a very unique matchup this year. Illinois' defense is remembering the loss to Wisconsin last year. I believe it was 24-0, where Wisconsin was able to run the football. That game was it wasn't very entertaining to like the normal fan, but when you're watching Illinois, you watch them give up opportunities last year where moving the ball to score, they were a couple plays away from getting some points, and they were a couple plays away from stopping Wisconsin from scoring. I know it's 24-0, but if you actually watch the game, Illinois was there. We just didn't do what we needed to do on offense. We had bad quarterback play. We just didn't convert on third downs when we needed to. And then the defense out there just, they would match Wisconsin's physicality, but they just either weren't making the tackles or, they just didn't get off the field. And then Illinois' offense didn't do the defense any favors. And so Illinois will remember that. Coach Walters is stated to have remembered that game. And so this is sticking in their mind. the keys for Illinois to get through this one is Illinois' rush defense only gives up 87 yards, and Wisconsin gets 211 rushing yards on the ground. So it's going to come down to Illinois' rush defense versus Wisconsin's rush offense. Illinois' defense does give different fronts. They are fast. They are physical. They will come down and tackle. So the keys for that one is linebacker play and defensive line play. For Illinois, can the defensive line hold on to the big offensive linemen and control the line of scrimmage and allow the running backs to fly up and make the play and not get caught looking in the backfield? Wisconsin is really good at pulling different guys different directions, doing misdirections. And also, I think, disrupting Mertz when he does decide to pass, because right now he has 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He is 55 of 82 overall. He's throwing for 791 yards total. So he's not playing too bad, but he also isn't the same Mertz that just torched Illinois a couple years ago, where he was 20 of 21 and just torched Illinois for everything we were worth. Just took all the lunch money. And so it's going to come down to that front 7. Really disrupting, really controlling the line of scrimmage. When Mertz does try to pass, really getting pressure on him, because Illinois' safeties and corners are really going to pressure the wide receivers. And it's not going to be easy. This is going to be the toughest test that Illinois has faced. They have lost to Indiana, which does concern a lot of people. Right now, it's 74.3% is leaning towards Wisconsin winning this game, only 25.7% for Illinois. So Coach Walters will have the defense ready. They will have something dialed up, but they have to really control the run game. And Wisconsin is averaging 211 yards on the ground. Illinois gives up 87. These stats, for Wisconsin are a little skewed because Wisconsin did give them the whipping last week and scoring a lot of points. But Illinois, again, is confident right now. Their defense is flying around. This could be a low-scoring affair if the defense can do their job. And then Wisconsin defense is also very tough, but they are giving up 19 points a game. So it's going to be, curious to see how that goes. But Illinois' defensive line is really going to have to step up. Their linebackers are going to come up and make tackles. And the back end, there's the defensive backs are going to have to really be physical with the wide receivers when Mertz does decide to pass, because if he somehow gets time, he is going to make that throw. So it's going to be very interesting to see that type of unique matchup from Wisconsin and Illinois. The flip side for Illinois' offense is, again, the run game. Chase Brown is leading the nation right now. He has 95 carries, 604 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Compared to Allen for Wisconsin, he has 497 yards, but he has 6 touchdowns. So Illinois' run game, where we get 209 yards on the ground, Wisconsin does give up 121. Now, those could be a little skewed because of Wisconsin's game versus Ohio State. That's why some of these stats can be a little skewed, but, they gave up 121 yards rushing on Wisconsin last week for Ohio State, and Williams had 101 yards rushing on them. So those could be a little skewed, but nonetheless, they do give up 200 or 121 rushing yards. So the rush defense isn't exactly the same stout rush defense stat-wise as they were last year. So it's going to really come down to the offensive line for Illinois and how physical they're going to get with the Wisconsin defensive line. I have full trust in Coach Bart Miller, who will get them ready to be physical and get the run game going. Chase Brown is hard to bring down, and they're going to start to open up the playbook even more. That just as it continues on, you're going to see different things, because they have to make a decision. Do they stop Isaiah Williams getting the jet sweep on the outside? Are they going to stop Chase Brown running up? And he can run to the outside. He can run up the middle. He can do it all. Should be a Heisman candidate. Brian stepped up last week. The receivers really stepped up last week for Illinois. So those are going to be other keys. Illinois' rush offense always going to be the key, especially when a team's giving up 121 yards to opponents. Chase Brown should have a feast on that when the offensive line blocking well up front. The difference for this one on this offense compared to last year is we will have a quarterback that can actually throw, make some plays and move around. DeVito is 89 of 129 this year, 954 yards, 9 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. So the wide receivers getting open and DeVito giving them the ball on time is going to be key as well. We all know we're going to run the ball. Wisconsin knows that. And so if Wisconsin starts to take the run away, stack the box, and making it tough, we have to be able to get the receivers open, and they have to get open for DeVito, and he's going to have to give them the ball in time, throw them open. And so keys to that one are going to be DeVito, offensive line, and Chase Brown to really get that stuff going for the offense. because Wisconsin's coming off a tough loss to Ohio State. They lost 52-21. This is not the same Wisconsin team as in the past. People are really wondering about them, but they also think they can get on a run on their schedule. Now, their toughest games they've played Illinois State at the beginning of the year. Then they lost to Washington State, which is kind of like Illinois' Indiana. They lost them 17-14. Then they whip New Mexico State 66-7. Then they get whipped 52-21 to Ohio State. And then we all know Illinois' schedule, but they beat Wyoming, they lost to Indiana, then they beat Virginia, which was a big win, and then they beat Chattanooga. So these are very similar teams, similar-ish teams when it comes to schedule, comes to stats, comes to how they're going to try to win. Wisconsin's going to come in and just run the ball and do what they do. But if Illinois' defense can really stop the run, we cannot let Mertz get on a tear. We cannot let him get hot because we've seen that before for Illinois. Those will be some key takeaways for the game, and what's really going to have to come down to how Illinois' defense steps up to stop that run and not let Wisconsin just bleed the clock. Illinois got to beat Wisconsin in 2019. They upset them 24-23 on a game-winning field goal. But Wisconsin has outscored Illinois 69-7 in the last two seasons, so it's not been good the last 2 years. But this is a different team. And again, Graham Mertz, his first start 2 years ago, he went 20 of 21, 5 touchdown passes. They beat Illinois 45-7. Then they scored, even more points last year, and Illinois didn't score. So those are the big takeaways for Illinois to get the win. I do think they're going to get the win. It's going to be low scoring. It's going to be tough, but I do think they're going to get the win over Wisconsin. Yes, my fandom is showing in that, but I think the defense is just so confident right now. And a big takeaway from this is now we have an offensive line that's slowly getting better. We have should be a Heisman candidate in Chase Brown. And then we also have a quarterback that's competent and can make, throws on the field. He can move around. He can manage a game. And Coach Bielema is going to have them fired up, ready to go, because he's going to be fired up, ready to go. And it's going to be a big test for Illinois. And if they can get this win, then it gives you confidence the rest of the year looking at their schedule to pick up another win to get to a bowl game. If they can get this win, then it's not hard-fetched to say they could beat Iowa. Then they can go on. Minnesota would be a tough one. They should be able to beat Nebraska. Michigan State's kind of spiraling. They could beat Purdue. They could beat Northwestern. They could compete with Minnesota. Not saying they're going to win all these games. That's really tough to do. But confidence is key. So I think Illinois could upset, quote unquote, this team and get to 4-1 and send Wisconsin to a 2-3 record, because they're looking at Illinois saying they're just going to beat them. And so hopefully Illinois can sneak in and get that win. So that's the key takeaways for Illinois versus Wisconsin. Thanks everybody for watching and or listening. Please like and subscribe YouTube channel. Follow it and give it a rating on Apple and iTunes. Follow me at Coach_Steve72. Be on the lookout for my college football picks coming out. I'm going to keep up with that as well. Currently 8-13, which is not good, but we're going to get back on track this week. Check out all the other episodes. Check out all the affiliates in the description below. Thank you guys again for watching and or listening, and we will see you next time.